Hello and welcome to my quick guide to crafting Xiuquatl, the 2nd generation legendary sceptre. There are timestamps and links below to the wiki for all the items mentioned here, so let's dive into a little bit of information about Xiuquatl, which was introduced to the game in episode 4 of season 4's Living World patch, A Star to Guide Us, on the 9th of February 2019. This Aztec-inspired lovely summons the spirit of the fire serpent and is linked in-game to the lore of the Hylic and their son god Xiuquatl. Now, of course, you are wanting this emerald dragonet, and I can't blame you, but it's a long journey, so where do we start? Well, first things first, you must own either the Heart of Thorns expansion or the Path of Fire expansion, or both, to craft any 2nd generation legendary weapon. So, what's next? Well, there is just 4 components you need to throw into the Mystic Forge to craft Xiuquatl. Tlehco, the precursor weapon, the gift of Xuiquatl, a mystic tribute, and either the gift of Maguuma mastery or the gift of desert mastery. But do not be deceived, for attaining these 4 items is a Herculean task, and I do not brandish that phrase lightly. So let's break this legendary down item by item so you know what you need to do. So let's talk about Tlehco, the precursor. You can only craft this weapon. You can't buy it on the trading post, not zip, zilch, nada. You must craft it, and you must have the Artificer crafting profession leveled to 500. There are 3 stages to crafting this weapon. Firstly, you need to make the obelisk, which unlocks the recipe for the anima, which, once crafted, allows you to purchase a recipe to craft Tlehco. Let's start with the obelisk. The recipe for this weapon is purchased from Grandmaster Craftsman Hobbs in the Traders Forum in Lion's Arch for the princely sum of 5 gold and 10,003 karma. This recipe teaches you how to craft the obelisk, as well as a legendary inscription, mystic curio, shards of Tlehco, and the visionary inscription. Now, we are heading into a Russian doll crafting system. Boxes in boxes, recipes in recipes. It's like this the whole way through the crafting process, so buckle up. There is a lot to get through, and a lot of it is either very expensive or takes a very long time to farm and craft, and most of the time it's a bit of both. So you have been warned, hooray. To craft the obelisk, you will need 30 shards of Tlehco, 3 resonating lobestones, and 1 oiled ancient sceptre rod and core. The oiled sceptre rod and core and the resonating lobestones you can purchase from the trading post, or you can craft them, and as you have leveled artificing to be able to do this, you will know how to craft these things. That's basic crafting. But for the shards of Tlehco, well, this is what you need. So to make these, you require 1 tribute of Tlehco, 1 mystic curio, 10 mithril ingots, and 20 elderwood planks. The tribute to Tlehco is purchased on Heart of Thorns and or Path of Fire maps for various map currencies. Here is the list. There's a lot of list, but for all of these, you run the map events, gain the currencies to purchase the tribute. Numerous ways to get these. Please note, to craft all 3 weapons, that's the obelisk, the anima, and Tlehco, you will need 190. And a further 100 to craft the gift of Tlehco, so really you're farming 290. Have fun! Onto the Mystic Curio again, which is a crafted, which requires 15 mithril ingots, 10 elderwood planks, hooray, very easy, but 35 tier 5 crafting materials. Any tier 5 crafting material will do. Large claws, large bones, potent blood, whatever you have, whatever's cheapest on the trading post, have at. You can exchange laurels for all the different tiers of crafting materials in the game at laurel vendors, so I hope that helps. So, after all that farming, hopefully you are the happy owner of a very expensive, but let's be honest, rather ordinary looking sceptre. So, what now? Well, once you have crafted Obelisk, you can head back to Grandmaster Hobbs, where you can now purchase the recipe for Anima, which will set you back 5 spirit shards and a further 10,003 karma. If you're unsure about the spirit shard element, links in the description below to how you generate these through gameplay and drops, etc. Like the Obelisk, you need shards of Tlehco, resonating lobestones, and 1 oiled ancient sceptre rod and core, but this time you need to craft 60 shards of Tlehco and 10 resonating lobestones. So, rinse and repeat until you've unlocked Anima. Once you have your new feathered stick, congratulations, yay! It's back to Mr. Hobbs for the final recipe to craft Tlehco. Again, it will cost you 5 spirit shards, 10,003 karma, that's 3 is very important, but Tlehco requires 100 shards of Tlehco, 1 visionary inscription, and 1 spirit wood, sceptre, rod, and core. We have covered how you get the shards, that doesn't change at all. But let's break down the visionary inscription, because to craft that, you need a legendary inscription, of course, and a vision crystal. Russian dolling all the way down. For the legendary inscription, you need 10 globs of ectoplasm, 5 piles of crystalline dust, 1 orichalcum plate dowel, and here comes the kicker, folks. 10 Alolan leather squares. Happily, you can either craft or buy these items from the trading post, so you have a choice between time and money, but most people kind of split it up a bit, 50-50 maybe. The vision crystal is a crafted item, cannot be purchased on the trading post. The bloodstone dust, dragonite ore, emperor fragments used to craft the vision crystal are reward drops from chests and dungeons and jumping puzzles and every type of gameplay in the game. The augur stone is purchased from any Mystic Forge attendant/keeper and costs 20 spirit shards. Let's have a quick word about ascended components. So the spirit wood and the Alolan leather are classified as ascended materials, and although they can be purchased on the trading post, if you want to craft these elements yourself, the time it will take to craft Tlehco may be affected. Here's why. Crafting Alolan leather requires you to craft a spool of thick Elonian cord, and you can only craft 1 of these bad boys a day. 1 every 24 hours is a set time that rolls around in game, and the same is true for spirit wood, where you need to craft globs of elder spirit residue. Again, 24-hour cooldown. Chances are, if you are farming all or most of the materials to craft Tlehco, 10 days worth of Alolan cord cooldowns, well, that's just going to roll right into the months of focused farming that you are joyfully doing. But here is my little bit of advice. Get started straight away with the Alolan leather. Don't put it off. And I would say, even when you are not specifically crafting a legendary or ascended weapon, if you have the materials, just make them, because you never know when you're going to want to or need to craft a new ascended piece of armor or weaponry, or you want to start on a new legendary adventure. So now, after a ridiculous amount of time and gold, you have Tlehco. Yay, congratulations. But that is just one of the components needed for your legendary. So let's look at the gift of Xiuquatl, which is a throw in the Mystic Forge step requiring 1 Gift of the Mists, 100 Mystic Runestones, 100 Shards of Tlehco, and 1 Gift of Energy. The Tlehco shards we have already covered, so let's look at the Gift of the Mists, which is made up of the Gift of Glory, the Gift of Battle, and the Gift of War, plus a cube of stabilized dark energy. Now, the Gift of Glory and War are purchased from any Mystic Forge Keeper/Attendant for 250 shards for the Glory and 250 memories of battle for the War. Both the Shards of Glory and the Memories of Battle can be purchased from the trading post, or you can head into PvP game mode to gain the Shards of Glory and Will v World play mode for the Memory of Battle tokens. Now, the Gift of Battle is unlocked by a reward track in Will v World game mode here. The Cube of Stabilized Dark Energy is an account-bound crafted item which needs 1 ball of dark energy and 75 stabilizing matrices. The ball of dark energy is gained via salvaging ascended gear. Links below. It's fairly specific if you want a guaranteed drop. And the stabilized matrix drop from chests in fractals. The Mystic Runestones are probably the easiest to get, if not the cheapest. They are purchased from the Mystic Forge Attendant/Keeper for 1 gold each. So bye bye 100 gold, I will miss you. Okay, on to the Gift of Energy, which is fairly straightforward. You need 250 piles of Radiant Dust, Luminous Dust, Incandescent Dust, and Crystalline Dust. The recipes for these gifts are purchased from any Mist Forge Attendant for another 10 gold. Once you have all 4, head to the Mystic Forge and throw them into it to gain the Gift of the Mists. Congratulations. The Mystic Tribute. The Mystic Tribute is another throw in the Forge creation, which requires 2 gifts of Condensed Magic and 2 gifts of Condensed Might, plus 77 Mystic Clovers and 250 Mystic Coins. So let's break it down to the many gifts and other wondrous things that you need to collect. So, a singular gift of Condensed Magic requires a gift of Blood, Venom, Totems, and Dust. The recipes for these are, yes, you guessed it, purchased from the Mystic Forge Attendant/Keeper for 10 gold each. You will need 50 tier 3 and 4 materials for each material type, as well as 250 tier 5 mats and 100 tier 6 2 for each gift of Condensed Magic. For the gift of Condensed Might, it is exactly the same deal, but this time you are farming for claws, scales, bones, and fangs. You need to buy the recipes again from the Mystic Forge Master. Onto the 77 Mystic Clovers, one of the most historically hated grinds in the game, happily which has been made a lot easier. So there are several ways now to obtain Mystic Clovers. Whilst you're working towards a Gift of Battle anyway, you will gain 2 from this reward track. It's also possible to gain them from Will v World Skirmish reward tracks too. For the Day 28 login reward, you can select the Legendary Crafting Materials reward to gain 7 Mystic Clover there. Now, they can be purchased from Buy 4373, a Fractal Vendor Golem, but only 2 can you purchase in any 24 hours. Mystic Clovers can also be gained via the Mystic Forge. But taking this route, you are at the mercy of the RNG gods, so buyer beware. Onto the Mystic Coins, which can be purchased from the trading post, where they cost around about 1 gold, 50 to 2 gold, depending on the day. They are also a common reward for completing the Nightmare Fractal and the Shattered Observatory Fractals on challenge mode. You gain 20 coins over the course of 22 days from the daily login reward system. If you are a PvP lover, ranking 1 to 5 for the daily automated tournament and ranking 1 to 100 in the monthly automated tournament rewards can reward coins do. And for World v Worlders, the skirmish reward tracks also offer mystic coins in the gold and diamond tiers. Finally, we come to the gift of Maguuma Mastery and the gift of Desert Mastery. Either of these masteries will do, so the player has a little bit of welcome choice here, providing they have both expansions. If you enjoy Heart of Thorns content, go for the Maguuma Mastery, which is made up of the gift of Maguuma, the gift of Insight, 1 Bloodstone Shard and 250 crystalline ingots. Let's start with the simplest first. The Bloodstone Shard is purchased from any Mystic Forge vendor/attender for 200 Spirit Shards. If you are unsure about Spirit Shards and how to get them, links below. The gift of Maguuma is gained via map completion in Heart of Thorns map. So specifically, you need to map complete Verdant Brink to gain the gift of the Fleet, Auric Basin for the gift of Taria, Tangled Depths for the gift of the Chak, and finally Dragon Stand for the gift of the Jungle. Once you have all these map gifts, throw them into the Mystic Forge to gain the gift of Maguuma. The gift of Insight is made up of 4 individual gifts again. Shocker, right? The gift of the Itzel, New Hawk, Exalted and Gliding. Now, the gift of the Itzel is purchased with 500 airship parts and some gold from Itzel Mastery vendors on the Verdant Brink map and Xiuquatl on Tangled Depths map. Airship parts are a map currency and drop in Verdant Brink. The gift of New Hawk is sold by New Hawk Mastery vendors and 10 Orc on the Tangled Depths map for 500 ley line crystals and some gold. Ley line crystals are a map currency which drop, you guessed it, in Tangled Depths. The gift of the Exalted is purchased for 500 lump of Aurelium and some gold from the Exalted Mastery vendor in Auric Basin and Verdant Brink. Lumps of Aurelium is a map currency and drops in Auric Basin. The gift of Gliding is purchased for 300 airship parts, 300 lumps of Aurelium and 300 ley line crystals from all Mystic Forge keepers/attendants. You're going to be farming a lot of maps. Okay, so once you have all 4, it's off to the Mystic Forge we go again to throw our hard work at Sammy Boy and gain the gift of Insight. Finally, we come to the whopping crystalline ingots, 250 of the little beggars. Using 1 crystalline ore, 1 fulgurite, 1 glob of ectoplasm and 1 amalgamated gemstone. For the crystalline ore, you are going to have to farm the holy badoodles out of Dragonstand maps, specifically noxious pods. So do the map events to gain the machetes and then hack the pods to death to get your ore and lots of other bits and pieces as well. So the ecto you can purchase on the trading post or you can farm from salvaging rares and upwards. Amalgamated gemstones can be purchased from the trading post but also drop from hero choice chests on Heart of Thorns maps. They can also be obtained by the Mystic Forge via, well, a lot of different material combos, so go mad, clear out your bank if what you've got and farm the trading post for what you need. Cheapest is best. The fulgurite must be crafted using obsidian shards. Don't panic about all the obsidian shards. They used to be quite rare in game, but now, as you can see, there are numerous sources for this resource. Okay, so you will need obsidian shards, as well as account-bound bottles of aircraft oil, which drop from Verdant Brink map, piles of auric dust from Auric Basin, and ley line sparks from Tangled Depths. You will be spending a lot of time running these maps, so just scoop them up as you're doing your map completions, as you're picking up all the rest of the things that you need from these maps. It's all quite synergetic. You are now ready for another visit to Mr. Zed, Zamoros himself, where you throw your gift of Maguuma, gift of Insight, Bloodstone Shard, and 250 crystalline ingots into that forge, and in return, congratulations, you have crafted the gift of Maguuma Mastery. Now, if you don't own Heart of Thorns, or you would prefer to run more up-to-date and current content, well, happy day for you, because as long as you have the Path of Fire expansion, you can use, instead of the Maguuma Mastery, the gift of Desert Mastery, which comprises of the gift of the desert, gift of riding, as well as 250 funerary incense and 1 bloodstone shard. So let's start with the easiest and head to the most arduous to obtain. So starting with, of course, the singular bloodstone shard, which is one of the easiest to get. One trip to our good friend, because we've seen her a lot, the Mystic Forge attendant, where, yes, it's another 200 spirit shards for that item. The gift of the desert is made up of 4 other gifts. The gift of the oasis, the gift of the highlands, the gift of the riverlands, and the gift of the desolation. So the gift of the oasis is purchased at Amnoon Farm from Priestess Karima for 23,331 karma. The gift of the highlands is purchased from Melilla and Tenji on the Desert Highlands map for 23,331 karma. The gift of the Riverlands is purchased from follower Zun on the Elon Riverlands map, again for 23,331 karma. And finally, the gift of the Desolation is purchased from Kesha Odili on the Desolation map for 23,332. No, I'm lying, it's 23,331 karma. Of course. Karma. Okay, so once you have all these, we're heading back to that Mystic Forge, in the little rut that we have made, going back and forth to it, and throw them in to get the gift of the desert. Onto the gift of riding, which is made up of the spirit of the raptor, the spirit of the springer, the spirit of the skimmer, and the spirit of the jackal. Now for the raptor, head to the sinking ruins in the crystal oasis and give Axim 100 elegy mosaics. For the springer, head to the stampede uplands in the desert highlands map and give another 100 elegy mosaics to stable master Umja. For the skimmer, head to the skimmer ranch on the Elon Riverlands map and give 100 elegy mosaics to Ardra, the skimmer trainer. And finally, for the jackal, head to the Sand Jackal Run on the Desolation map and give 100 elegy mosaics to Drojikor, the Spirit Squall. Once you have all these, head to the Mystic Forge, throw them in, and you have the gift of riding. Congratulations. Now, finally, we're onto the 250 funerary insets, which is an account-bound item purchased from vendors on the Desert Highlands or Domain of Vabi map. So, in the Domain of Vabi, you will have to hand over 5 trade contracts, 1 amalgamated gemstone, 1 obsidian shard, and 1 glob of ectoplasm for a singular funerary incense. Or if you are trading with the primal steward in the Desert Highlands, you can give him either 1 orichalcum ingot for a singular incense, or 3 elegy mosaics, 1 amalgamated gemstone, 1 obsidian shard, and 1 glob of ectoplasm for the incense. Rinse and repeat 250 times. Yay! So, you'll have to forgive me. I have crafted 3 legendary weapons and I don't think I'm quite over it yet. I need a hug. So once you have Tlehco and the gift of Xiuquatl and a mystic tribute and either the gift of Maguuma Mastery or the gift of Desert Mastery, it's time to throw them one last time into that forge and Zamaros. Oh, Zami, we are friends now forever. He will give you Xiuquatl in return. If I have made this in any way sound easy, I have failed. So, that is my quick, in inverted comma quick, guide to creating Xiuquatl. If you found this guide helpful and informative, please like, share, subscribe, and please do show some love to Ada, Hain, Cub, Sir Azu, Christopher Martin, Mulini, Jolly Joe Star, Dark Griever, and all my wondrous, fantabulous patrons, without whom I would be unable to dedicate the time and resources I do to my content creation. I can never thank them enough. And if you feel inspired to jump into Guild Wars 2 to grab this or any of the many beautiful legendary weapons in game, there are referral links below to the free-to-play game, the Heart of Thorns expansion, and the Path of Fire expansion 2, thanks to the generosity of Arenanet and their partner program, of whom I am a proud affiliate. Using any of these links directly supports my channel. Now, I hope you will join me again very soon for more Guild Wars 2 goodness, but until then, as always, thanks for watching.